Coming on.
Oh wait.
Sound check, sound check, sound check. This is a sound check.
Is it popping up? Is it arigato, arigato. It
Coming
might
on.
be pop.
Welcome
Hello
to
everyone
the...
and welcome to the Killer Kelpie podcast.
Thank you for stealing my lead in.
Pretty good.
Alright, clear this shit up, right? I'm leading you in. Welcome to the Killer Kelpie podcast. I'm your host, Lockie, at Lock1ECS on Twitter. I am joined today with... Oh, come on, lead yourselves in. Give yourself
I'm
something.
waiting for Liam to drop the word.
Oh my-
Sorry. 안녕하세요, I'm Liam, aka Kelpie 36.
Shut the fuck up.
Follow that right-
PG! None of that. Continue.
And so over
Listen,
to you,
fix the mic.
over to you, Tornado.
Hey, my name's Ben. I'm the big tornado. You might know me as Slow Tornado, Killer Kelpie, or Possible Furry 3321. There you go.
Alright. So, Kelpie's joined us on this podcast today to really give his grievances about people in the scene, you know, how people have misunderstood him as a person and how people have really misunderstood him as a player, right? This isn't an actual recurring podcast. It's probably just a one-time thing. I should just mention that out the gate. I mean, this title, I mean, hey.
The title is the best.
Anyway,
May I interrupt again and
yeah.
say that people in the chat are asking you to turn us up on Discord?
turn you
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
on Discord, right? I'll boost desktop audio. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a production host.
I'm nowhere as good as next gen, okay? Anyway, I'll lead you in, Kelpie, with your first point. What do you want to discuss with me? Why? So, just talk
So
to me.
I wanted to-
Yeah.
I wanted to
Continue.
first off discuss, like, I wanted to kind of lead off of my LFT thread, because I think my LFT thread is actually a perfect example of how scuffed the community is in terms of standards and the way that people rate a player. It is incredibly skewed and biased.
Okay. So, I mean, we all get that LFT threads aren't really a good representation of how good a player is. Like, you can get a positive comment on an LFT thread, and clearly that positive comment can mean very little. Even if the player is good, they've never played on a team together. If they don't talk to each other frequently, if they're just in good spirits with each other, that's going to be a positive comment right there. And I think in your situation, you see people who aren't in good spirits with you giving you that kind of stuff. So talk to me about how you see that.
Okay. So my first, like, if I was going to lead off, like, how, so what's the biggest thing? Well, if you were to scroll down into that LFT thread, you'd actually find people actually misunderstood the point of it. And it wasn't that I was becoming a player again. It never said anything about me being a player. Actually, because people just saw Tornado LFT and they just focused in on that alone, they didn't actually look down into the comment, into the first paragraph where I just said, "Hi, my name is Ben, looking for a team, had some issues, but I'm looking as a coach." I preface it within the first two sentences saying I'm a coach, but if you look into the comments, you already see people basing me off as a player. They don't even consider in that I could have improved over time. Many of these people that are commenting, they have had beef with me in the past, and they've had their grimes with me even over years, like not years ago, but at least 3 months ago. And as we all know in esports, a lot can change within just 2 months. So
Right,
2
okay.
months is like a year in esports.
Okay. So I get how that like goes to I get how that could grind on you in a way. Right. I get how that can be annoying. But when I look at this, right, it says Tornado LFT, right?
Yep.
I read this and until I don't get to see that you're looking for a team as a coach until the second sentence. Right? If I'm reading into this and I'm looking, okay, Tornado LFT, my name is Ben, I've been looking for a team for a while, but recently due to financial issues and my PC breaking down. It's not grammatically correct, but it doesn't really matter. When I read that first, if I just look at that, I read the first sentence and I'm like, sweet, this is Tornado looking for a team, I better go and shit talk, alright? So let's read some of the comments. And we'll just look how that applies. So
Execute posted.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just read it out the first one?
I'll read it out for you and just give me your thoughts on it. Okay. I don't know how good or bad he will be after his break. He could be super rusty, or the break may have given him time to improve. CGA would be a good fit. Bowl. From Tekka.
He's being fair in that he's at least read the first couple of sentences and he's gone, well, maybe he could be good, maybe he could be bad. He's being fair. He's weighing up the options. And even though I may be a bit biased because I do have links to the Big Egg himself, it is still a fair comment, and he is being fair in the way that
he's read the title. He's read the title, and he's put in here, I don't know how good he'll be after his break. He hasn't even gone to the second sentence.
Yeah, that is another thing, and that is where and as in a couple of readings of the article and looking through, that is another thing. He didn't fully realize what he was talking about, but I know he still knows that I'm looking for a team as a coach because I've literally mentioned it to him in the past. So I know that he knows I'm looking for a team as a coach, and he could still be referring to, my knowledge towards Counter-Strike. And because, when you spend time away from something, maybe even a profession, you don't remember everything.
So you get rusty. I get it. How about we go into the hypocrisy in some of the comments? So, second comment. Mid CGO, gigantic ego for a game end player. Best of luck.
So, my main grime with this point, well, not even a point, is, okay, mid CGO, there have not been a lot of coaches in just the CGA region.
Well, you're a CGA caliber player. We don't have any doubt about this, right? But you look at this comment and he's saying mid CGO. You don't have coaches in CGO. CGO teams don't have coaches. It's just fundamentally stupid. Coaches don't waste their time with CGO teams unless they're good friends of the people who are in the team, right? Gigantic ego for a game end player. Not relevant. Not a player. And
on top of that, you look at that and it goes, well, I actually haven't had a very big ego in the past. I know everyone can here stand by the fact that I don't have a particularly good ego. I'm going to preface it by saying I have been diagnosed with depression. Now, with depression, you automatically almost can't have a particularly high ego. You can't think much of yourself and go, oh, well, I fucking, I really hate everything in this situation and I'm really depressed, but I'm 100% like the best person ever, It doesn't really make sense.
Okay. I look from, that makes sense, right? As a point, you have depression, if you have depression, you're not going to see yourself from a particularly high standpoint. And as a result, you're not going to have a big ego, right? But then you look at that from another angle, and some can say, okay, hang on, he's got depression, he's compensating for something. How would you address that?
So he's compensating for it.
Yeah, okay, so if you lack in a, or not necessarily you, if someone was to lack in a particular area, right? Say I'm short, right? Then to actually gain social status and to gain standing with people, I might want to make up for that shortfall, bolster myself and my ego to actually push that, right?
So it is. So it is.
So from your standpoint, someone looking at you from your standpoint, they can look at that. They can say, "Hang on, maybe he's just bolstering himself, with an ego, right?" And at a time, I would say that you did have an ego, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? Because if you look maybe 6 months back, you're going around to people, you're saying you're going to be better than them in a season. You're saying that things will be better for you than it will be for them. Somebody can perceive that. They can say, okay, that's him having an ego. How do you respond to that?
Well, you've also got to put it into the context that he's saying that I have a gigantic ego. Now,
An ego's an
I've
ego.
never-
Honestly, an ego's an ego.
like everyone has their own has an ego, whether it is very shit or to the point where it is like really bad, like mentally unhealthy, and it means that the person will definitely need to see some like it's like a spectrum. You don't want to be on the extreme right or left of either spectrum, because either way you're going to have your problems. It's going to be destructive for you in your life. So I would say my ego is balanced for me as a person and for me as a player. Now, when I referred to myself as a player, I thought I'm not the best as a player. Sometimes I can do well, but I'm not the type of player who's going to carry the game. I'm the type of player who's going to set up everyone else. And I always thought of myself, I'm a good IGL. I have the potential to be a good IGL. I just need to be given the chance. Now, if you consider the teams that I was in and the stints, then it's like, well, okay, that might be a fair chance. He hasn't really been given a chance to lead a good team. So I thought it was fair. Maybe you guys might disagree.
Okay. Creeps, can you weigh in on this?
I'll be honest, I haven't been listening.
Okay.
I've been.
All right. So, you're just a great co-host. Like, you really helped me out. Right.
I agree.
Okay.
I'll stop listening.
So, alright, I'll briefly just explain it. So, I've said to Kelpie has said, Tornado Ben has said, sorry, that he doesn't have a big ego, that he doesn't have an ego, and that he hasn't had an ego, right? And I responded to him saying that at a point he did have an ego, and people can see that. And the reason he had an ego is because he can say he's compensating for something, i.e., his depression, right?
Right.
And I'm just saying that from that standpoint, CrossFit can make a comment like that, from a reasonable standing.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, yeah, I think CrossFit is a bit ludicrous for thinking he has a gigantic ego, because he's been out of the scene for what, like, month, 2 months now?
I've been out of the scene for 2 months.
Okay, actually, I'll briefly say we are wildly biased about CrossFit, because all of us have had negative experiences with CrossFit.
Yes.
We all fell out with CrossFit in a way. So anything we say here is going to be wildly negative and wildly biased about him. In saying that,
Okay, yeah, but...
let's absolutely dig into CrossFit. Kelpie.
Can I start like tearing this apart? Okay.
Yeah, please go.
So
Finish my point, dude.
here's the thing about CrossFit is that if you move on to the next part of his argument, it just doesn't make sense. And it's a gigantic ego for a shit player. Yet again, not a player, and we briefly touched onto this, but I'm going to emphasize the point. People aren't reading it. People don't, and they're seeing, don't have the attention span just to read.
Hang on. Let's not go after the whole scene, okay? Clearly, not everybody's left a negative comment on this. Like, even some people who didn't read it left a positive comment. It's not about I wouldn't say it's about attention spans. It's about, if you see someone's LFT thread, right? You should read it. You should read it, right? But
yeah, but people just skip to the end.
And we've all had problems with this on LFT threads and LFM threads alike, where they just go to the bottom, click this theme, and I've said, oh, I don't want people who are under 13 years old, and they're like, oh yeah, right. Anyway, Liam, I led you in with a point. Please elaborate.
Right. So yeah, no, that's definitely true. But back to the original comment, the original post from XFit. I think it's a bit ludicrous to say that he has an ego, considering how many encounters has CrossFit actually had with Tornado.
Barely.
I think it's very minuscule, like at best.
And
on top of that, like that's just straight hypocritical, mate. Why have you done that?
Hang on. By the way, I haven't played with him within 4 months at best. That is something that I will stand by. I have not played with him at least within 4 months. The last time I played with him was in the old InstaFrag servers, where that died out months ago. So it is absolutely ludicrous for him to go around saying that I'm a shit player. But
Look,
on top of that, do you want to bring up his comment that he said himself 4 months ago on my own thread?
That's just great, bro. That's insane. Like, shout out CrossFit, my boy. You're
Alright, so do you want to bring up that older comment that he said on another one of my LFT threads?
I don't have it. Just read it out for me.
Oh no, I think it was that one. You just scrolled it. You just
The
teased it a bit.
November 23rd one.
I think so.
This one?
Oh no, not November the 23rd. It would have been a couple months ago in like October or something.
August 16th.
Oh, August probably. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Briefly go through. Here we are. So, I'll wait for it to. Yeah. Okay. So, this is CrossFit on August the 16th. A mid to higher, which I agree with, by the way, for the time. That's fair. IGLing low A, fair. Bold Tornado higher, but low A if you're willing to give him a shot. So what's happened in this period of time? How has this deteriorated?
Absolutely fucking nothing, mate.
See, I think that's the problem. Nothing's happened.
Nothing has happened.
That's literally the issue. Nothing's happened. So how does your opinion change?
If CrossFit could please bring up a thing where it is like, oh, well, I've seen a bad performance from him. Well, I haven't had a performance since then. What are you on about? On top of that, like, I would be very willing to sympathize with someone like CrossFit. If you look at his background, well, he's a homosexual. I've had my own doubts towards my own sexuality. I've reached points in my life where I've been very questioning of myself, and within the modern society, and the way we are culturally, and the way the West is, it is.
Yeah, no, we conceptualize things that are out of the norm as, well, obviously not normal, and we exclude people who
we romanticize absurdity as well, or like minorities. So it is something that is definitely a thing, and I can I'm sympathetic towards.
Be careful where you're going with this one.
Definitely. But when you are going around and you are, because here's the thing, I've actually tried to level with him in the past in Discord messages, and I've tried to talk to him, because I did talk shit before his comment, by the way, and I did talk shit before about him, but I tried to make up, and tried to like go, you know, I don't actually have a problem with you as a person, just think you're a funny meme, mate, and you're just a bit shit at CS, because at this time, that was a very fair comment to make. He wasn't very good at the game, and this was about the time where I think after this, where he started to become a good in-game leader in some people's eyes. Well, I used to always make fun of him, and yet again, it was pretty petty, and so I tried to make up with it, and out of nowhere, one day he just blocked me, and I think this is when I fell out with you, Liam, initially.
Yeah.
So how can I sympathize?
All right, I'll just briefly interrupt. You and Liam have fallen out too many times, and I cannot count all the times. So let's just say when you just please specify at what point.
The 20th. Oh no, 17th.
Because within the time frame we're actually talking about here.
17th of September.
Yeah, within the time frame we're talking about here with different LFT threads, Liam and Tornado have fallen out multiple times. It's not a matter of contention. It's just a clarification.
Oh, yeah.
To make things
a bit easier. On top of that, it happened on the 17th of November.
Right. Okay.
Now, around this time, I don't know when he blocked me, but I was trying to talk to him before that, back in like September. But yeah, do you want to move on to some of the other points in this? Because I want to be able to get to a couple
How
of other ones.
how about we give a personal point of view on CrossFit? Liam, you could lead me in on that.
Okay, I'm not.
Personal point.
Personal point of view, because obviously from a point of
I
view on.
haven't had the same experience.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can give
Wait, is
insight
this
on a
just
personal
about
point of
his
view.
personality in general,
So
or is it
to actually give context to this, we can talk about his personality in general,
personality?
if you
I don't
want
really
to.
want to make I don't really want to worsen the situation between him and I currently, but he's not the most likable person. I'll put it that way.
Fair enough. All right. How
Just
about
like most people in the CyberGamer scene, might I add?
all right? How about I just make my opinion clear. So from a personal point of view, I have never had a good relationship with CrossFit. I have been cordial with him around other people to achieve good conversation, but in general, he is repulsive to me on a personal level. If he's watching or not, I'm not too concerned. Anyway, yeah,
From
he
what I've heard generally around the scene, he's a bit of a rat, and he does.
Well,
he does seem a bit like a rat.
It's
though.
not just about that. He has this tendency where if there's a big personality, like somebody who domineers a chat or a voice channel, for example, he will go to them, right? Let's just say Creeps is our big personality here, right? And I'm in the channel here. I'm just chill, right? CrossFit will, to suck up to whoever the biggest ego in the channel is, not ego, sorry, personality in the channel. In this case, Liam. He will, to actually hire his own social status, throw shade at me and other people in the channel, in fact, and then compliment Liam. It's a subtle thing, actually, but it's really. It's repulsive,
really
and you can tell.
Throwing people on the bus.
Yeah, and you can tell.
And so
no.
is it just like out of nowhere where it's just suddenly?
It's not where it's called
you're
for.
a
It's
bot.
definitely not where it's called for, and it's not
Yeah.
it's not in sarcasm or in joking. It's definitely a very deliberate thing. And I'm not saying he's bullying me or anything. It's not a big deal. I can deal with it. But when you most people here are in some form of schooling at this stage, one would imagine.
Yes.
When you sit in a classroom, right? And there's like a table of 3, maybe it's like a science lab or something, right? There's always that one person on that one table who's always just looking around. Like he's just looking around for something to join in on.
Oh,
that.
1 second. Can I address one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Zerkov, why are you sitting there having a sleep?
All right.
Having a sleep, even though you're still in the chat.
Let's not.
Also, by the way, at the end we are doing call.
No. Well, okay. We're doing callbacks. We're doing callouts a bit later. Where you'll be able to actually speak to us about this kind of stuff. But he's just that one kid who looks around. He finds drama. He goes up to the biggest person and he tries to assert himself, to assert his social status.
Yeah.
To anybody who's actually had a conversation in the past, I don't know, 3 years, you can probably already tell that doesn't really work, does it? No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on things. We'll move on now. I've had my rant.
Let's move on from the big CrossFit.
How about we go on from CrossFit to another personality in the CyberGamer scene? Okay,
We'll just quickly brush up on Max, shall we?
No, hang on. I'll give you Husky because the other people you have a lot of experience in. I have to ask you questions on this stuff.
Yep.
Everybody knows Husky, right? He's a decently well-known player. He's actually gone overseas to play Counter-Strike. He's level 10 on Faceit. He turns up everywhere, even maybe where he's uninvited.
Okay.
There is a small boy in the scene currently whose name was Miko, but he changed it to Husky.
Different spellings, by the way, folks.
You changed it to Husky. And well, it didn't work.
Let's just say they're not the same person.
They're not the same
Definitely
person.
not the same person, are they?
No. And it didn't quite work. So I'll show you a clip. From a long time ago. From a while ago. It's not really that long ago. This would have been 2 years ago, maybe.
Oh, you're showing this.
2 years ago. I was.
Why have you done that, mate?
I was This was a joke on my part. I don't care if it's funny or not, but this just this is the
email servers.
What the I didn't mean to play it yet. Calm down. Actually that's fine. We can play it from here. We won't show a clip. Can we actually turn? Yeah, we can turn the volume down.
I'm just gonna
say
Liam is the most accurate player with the ult.
And we'll just play this. This is the voice of Miko.
Can you shut up, Rand?
The voice of Husky.
A good email servers, good for Zimbabwe contact.
Oh, wait,
yes, you want buy?
This is not a good impression, by the way. I thoroughly regret this. Like, can we have quiet? Can we have calm? Let's just listen to the clip.
Order in the court.
You like buy?
Creeps, seriously.
Yes.
Creep, seriously.
What?
You on crazy?
Alright, tell us what's going.
So this was actually just a big joke, really, because he thought he could order a server from us. He came randomly onto our Discord, which he'd been invited to one time, and he tried to buy a server from us. It was great.
This isn't an actual point about.
No, this isn't. This isn't actually just a point about it. This is just piss taking. So timeline. Miko in this clip. He changed to Husky about 2 months later. We learned that he was Miko. And ever since he's been crawling around in the sewers of CGO. Could you give us some insight, Liam, on the big man himself? Miko.
Yeah, I mean, I think he went off the grid for a while, but upon his return, I'm pretty sure he made an LFT thread that ended up being deleted, and it got completely shat on despite having a break. So I think he eventually just went under the radar, started trying to create team, that way, instead of actually making monster cock LFT threads.
I see. Can we just any swear words on the stream? Can we just have game end so that my channel doesn't get taken down? Actually, that's fine. That was fine.
Other than that, I don't know much about the history of Miko. Quite frankly, I don't care.
Yeah.
Alright.
And what's your beef with him? Because clearly you wanted this as a topic on the stream, so I want you to give me a bit of a.
No, he was just straight up a worse version of Cross.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Tornado, from your point of view, give me some stuff.
Okay, so this 13-year-old cretin who's gotten out of the sewer. My theory about him is that he was a test subject in some horribly wrong science experiment, and he just got out somehow. Like, no one knows how. It's a bit like Grimer, the Pokemon. Just no, Fantastic Four. Just that fucking the Robber Man. Just.
Alright. Let's say instead. Let's say Deadpool, but like worse. Okay, just so that we have a family-friendly reference that we all know.
Since when was
Continue.
Deadpool family-friendly? Alright.
Okay. 5-year-olds go to see Deadpool. I just don't care. Like you go to the cinema, right? And you see like 6-year-olds there. Continue.
So this guy has consistently had an axe to grind with me. He has consistently gone to almost every single one of my LFT threads since and spread misinformation and lies, and consistently made it so that I've had he's tried to make it so I have a hard time finding an LFT thread, although it didn't need help.
He's a man without credibility, so I mean, he's not exactly going to get a lot there. Let's just remember that we are, all three of us are legally under Australian law still children, so yes. We'll just to. Yeah, I mean,
okay,
it doesn't really make sense for us to go child on people who are like legit, what,
no,
2 years younger than us.
You said man, correct. Anyway, so let's get into the comment that he's actually said here.
Right.
Right.
What am I
Go on a break.
What am I looking at? Second one?
It's the second last one.
Oh, I see. That's all good. Let me have a look for it. Yeah, here we go. Played 2 games with him as I was trialing him for my team. I carried both games with 37 and 42 kills, and he had about 8 and 13 on both games respectively. He was yelling the He was yelling the entire time, even though nothing was going on. He was getting frustrated. Don't put commas, really. Don't make this easier to read for me. And angry for no complete reason.
Comma and.
No complete reason. Not completely no reason. No complete reason. The reason was not complete. And we did win both games 16-3 and 16-7 against mid-A teams, which would completely defeat the point because you have players fragging around to Never mind. And another matter of fact of the matter is he is saying he could coach a team to anything beyond CGO is a joke, and playing anything higher is also a joke. He backed out my teammates as well. Another trial is in both games, saying that they are all bots, even though they did better than him, and everyone makes mistakes, including Tornado, but it's not excused, and there is no excuse for it, and the way he acted, it was uncalled for. Thank you for putting commas. I don't like breathing either. Please give me your insight on this, Tornado, because clearly you are.
Okay, at the very let's put at the very start. Let's say this is a real thing. We notice we have a thing in CG, and just this is a thing with players. People can develop. People can realize in their own play and how they communicate. Okay, I'm a bit toxic here. The fact that he rules that out completely and goes, nah, from those 2 games, he is definitely the worst player. And from those 2 games of him, let's just say I was toxic, which isn't true. This is 100%, almost all of this is bullshit and just concocted and lied about. Let's just say it's true. It still doesn't make sense. People can change, and the fact that he's not willing to give that shows where he's at mentally and shows that this isn't a comment that should be taken seriously. The fact that he can't even write a sentence.
Okay, I do forgive him. It's a
paragraph.
It's a CyberGamer thread, but anyway.
Still, okay. So let's break down the first part of it. Played 2 games. Incorrect. We played 1. It was on Mirage, and I was playing B on. I was playing apps. On the team, for my team, I carried both games with 37 and 42. I don't remember specifically how many kills, but it definitely wasn't that high. We didn't win the games either. This is another lie, and he's just trying to propel himself and make himself look like a better player, although he just isn't.
Alright, I'll just interject quickly. Husky is not a good player. He is not a good player. He is a mid-CGO quality player. He is blazingly average at the game. Blatantly. And he will not make it anywhere in the scene at any point. So
I'm not gonna say he was or what he is not a good player because I haven't played with him. I'm just staying consistent with my morals and how I discuss the game and players. But let's just say he was doing decent within the game, but it wasn't 37 and 42 kills. He did not concoct 79 kills over 2 games.
And it's a scrim anyway.
There was another game. On top of that, yeah, it was a scrim. And he had about 8 and 13 on both games respectively. He was yelling the entire time. Absolutely incorrect. I was not yelling. I did never yell at one point.
All right. Let's just.
All right. The time that I yelled was when we were in the chat, right? And
somebody's commented on one of the threads.
What did he say?
I'm not refreshing it. I don't want to.
Alright, fine. So he's pointed out here, okay, that I yelled the entire. Absolutely incorrect. Never yelled at a specific point. Well,
we've had a sound glitch there. Just repeat the last 5 seconds.
Okay. I didn't yell the entire thing. That was a lie.
Yep.
Basically, I yelled at the end because I was pissed off. because we had a disagreement where I was explaining my side because I didn't play particularly well. That is something that is true. I don't know how well I did within the game, but we definitely didn't win.
Okay.
And there wasn't a second.
Okay.
Even though nothing was going on, he was getting frustrated. Nothing was going on in the game, but you've left out you've left out ever so conveniently the context that I had a fundamental problem with the players that you were trialing. One of these players is Sogon, who at the time, I don't know where he is now as a player, but I thought he was trash. I'd had my qualms with him in the past, and I adamantly disliked this guy.
Okay.
I didn't like him at all, and let's just put it into an example so I can try and relate it to the viewer. So you're stuck into a point where you are trialing for a CGO team because you've basically been shut on so much to the point where it's irredeemable, where you can't almost come back.
Okay.
You finally get an offer, and within it, you see a player that you don't like. You're not asking for them to remove the captain, to remove that player. You're just saying, I'm not going to play with that player. Then, when that player makes mistakes within the game, I don't remember specific mistakes, but I know they're made. When they're making mistakes, and you know it, you were getting fucked over because of it, and you dislike the way that they play, and then you were still forced to play with them, that is where I would draw the line. Just say with you guys in CrossFit, just replace Sogon with CrossFit. That instantly makes it a point where it's like, fuck me, please.
Okay. Right. And you look at that, and okay, so from your position, you're joining a team, right? You're joining a team. You're being invited to join a team, or at least trial for them, right?
Yeah, try.
And you've said you don't want to play with a player, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the other players in the lineup, and you say, okay, they're fine, and you see a player that you don't like necessarily, right, or you don't think is good for their role, unfortunately, I see that from a standpoint from you actually going into that team. That's where you have to make compromise. Because at that stage, you're not in a position. You're not actually in a position to bargain.
I did that initially, and I said like, okay, fine, but if I play badly, don't be surprised. I'm literally being the supportive end.
Well, that's where I have to disagree with you, because you can't use other players as an excuse for bad fragging. IGLing is a legitimate excuse for bad fragging. Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know if I was.
But if you're blaming another player for your fragging, and you've said that you're going to compromise with them, you still have to put in your end of the bargain. I just don't think that works as an actual as a way.
Well, okay, you always have players where it's like, okay, I'm just playing. Look at my position on CT side where I'm the B player for apps. My position is to be a rock and to just hold that side. If the players at A are going over aggressive, they're getting fucked over. Well, I'm always gonna have to rotate in later on in the round. I'm not gonna have the first contact. I'm probably heading into a 3v5 at that point. If not, the round might already be over when I get there. So I'm not going to perform awfully well. And the fact that I'm more or less a utility player, then that doesn't really work. That doesn't help you out. So
okay. Okay. So
you want me to just
I see that from mine. Okay. I think we'll move on from there because
I still have a couple of
just make a small point. That's fine.
Okay, so another fact saying he can coach anything beyond CGO. How would he know for a fact that I do coach? Yet again, same point towards me. The anything beyond CGO still doesn't make sense. His narrative doesn't make sense. And
look. I think we're in agreement that this post doesn't make sense. That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I think we can quite definitively say Husky done game end upped. You know, screwed up. You know, I would just not. Okay.
Damo, I'll give you what you want. Talk about me on your podcast. Done. Got you, mate.
All right. Okay. How about you talk to me about the issues you've had with recruiting?
Okay, so this expands into the greater point of I've made the community standards mistake where I went over a line that we have in the community, and this doesn't make sense at all. If you're a player, you'll notice this a lot where someone can say something within your thread, and this is why I'm making it now, is that I've had enough. I'm not standing up for this shit anymore. I've said, okay, no, I'm not gonna deal with blatant bullshit. So the thing is, right, is that he can say that and not get labeled as toxic. He can be like, CrossFit can be objectively toxic within that and not be called toxic because, oh no, he's just giving his opinion about it. But as soon as that player, who is the owner of that thread, who created that thread, responds back and criticizes it, gives it context, that is automatically labeled as toxic. That is the mindset we have in the CyberGamer community. It doesn't make sense. This... Okay, I just read the chat. Why did I do that? It doesn't make sense, but it's a thing. So, yeah.
All right.
That's one of my main problems with that, is that people can talk shit, then they can't get criticized back. It creates an echo chamber, and we've seen it happen to actually CrossFit, which is another reason why I would have actually naturally just, sympathized for him.
We have in chat a Kelpie's concerned mother, which means somebody
Yes.
which means somebody has gone to the effort. Somebody has gone to the effort to make an account. No, to make a YouTube sub account called Kelpie's concerned mother. I'd like to point out that it is an OK. It is a grandma putting up an OK symbol. It could be Scrooge's mum, could be Scrooge's girlfriend. We don't actually know. And I'd just like to point that out. So, can we just get an F? Why is that? No.
Why is that a thing?
Okay. How about you give me your thoughts on Triggs?
Trig? Okay. Yet again, another person who is extremely mature, who's always had an axe to grind with me. If you look back into the old threads, he's always commented mid CHO or low CHO, best of luck, and he's done it with everyone in this friend group. Look at Creeps. Look at Jalzerk, Tekka. I'm pretty sure he's done it too. He's done it to all three of us, and I don't know if he's done it to you yet, Lucky. But he's definitely always had an axe to grind with our community. And that is because I actually originally tried to get him banned because he admitted to cheating.
All right.
We don't have the proof on stream.
Okay, Liam, can you quickly elaborate on that?
Yeah, Triggs is an interesting one, eh?
Christ.
Just to say the least. Look, he's hopped teams for the past, I'd say at least 6 months. Admitted to cheating, calls everyone a bot rat despite never playing with them. And, I don't know, there's something not wrong up there, eh? Like, Cogs, lack to turn.
Yet again, he is below the age of 14.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
It is a bit like, okay, you are
Yeah, okay.
very much so underage.
Yeah, it would be fair to say that you give these people time to mature and they generally change. But that isn't to say that their conduct in the now is okay. So, but do we have anything more on that? Is there is there anything more we can? Oh yeah.
Relax, bowl cut.
Oh, look, he's attracted to his brother.
That's not actually you, is it?
That's Scrooge, man. That is Scrooge.
Oh, he's having a field day with this one. We'll get him in for a call in a minute.
Yeah, he's gonna be hilarious. He's
Right.
really hilarious,
On to
I
our
don't
last point before we do call-ins. Mex.
Alright.
I'll give Liam the start one for this one because I've given it to
Max.
Tornado.
Honestly, my experience with Max has actually been positive.
Okay.
He's been nice to me. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, like, not much more to say. We used to queue on ESCA back in the day, so.
Okay.
He's been relatively nice to me. I feel like we're neutral currently.
All right. Tornado.
I get proved otherwise.
Yeah.
I originally have known him from back in the old Glockwork Academy days. So, fucking crikey, am I right? So basically, here's the thing. The fact that he's already going is this killer Kelpie. When I've prefaced it before on my Steam account, my profile, saying that I was on this thing, he has on other LFT threads. He's made the link that Tornado is killer Kelpie is me. So it doesn't really make sense that he's asking it here, and he's trying to imply that I feel like he's almost trying to imply if so it's shit. Even though you can't really get it away from that, that's just from my own experiences with him.
Okay. And so exposing you is the main thing you're done about. Look, here's what I'll say. If you change your IGN, you have the same voice, you go to hang out with the same people, you should assume that people are going to recognize you. Because, I mean...
I didn't change my name with the actual intention of,
that's true.
calling people. Actually, this is something... Alright, do you want me to clarify this, and we'll go off into a side tangent? Do you want to do that?
No, it's fine.
There's not much content,
that's right. We're gonna get in now to call-ins. I will invite... So, first what I'd want to do is I will invite on stream CrossFit, Husky, Triggs, and Mex for a call-in to come and talk, to come and sort things out. If they're watching the stream or if anyone on the stream can get them to come in, that would be good. I mean,
Kelpie's
kind of nice.
concerned.
But I think
You can come in for a call-in.
I think first call-in has to be Scrooge, really, because he's really he's quite a contributor. Yeah, so let's get Scrooge in here for a call. Can you add him? Can we get our call admin?
I might have blocked him because he's a bit of a threat.
Okay, that's yeah. Well, I mean, okay, calm. Let's be calm.
Oh wait, let's be calm. Calm down, mate. I'll see if I've blocked him.
I can add Scrooge.
And you can add him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. He can now. Yeah. Because I had to quickly unblock him. There he is.
All right, welcome into the Killer Kelpie podcast, Scrooge.
Sorry, guys.
Do you have any questions?
Here for our call in.
Hang a bang. Why is all right?
No. One call in at a time. Don't do that shit. Come on.
Stop ringing.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Scrooge,
What is the question?
how's the podcast really gone for you? You've been enjoying it?
Oh man, it's been a blast.
Been a blast. That's good.
Wait. Can I pause this for a second? By the way, boys, if you want if you want to call in, put in your Discord name and your little hashtag. I'll add you, and then I'll add you to the call.
There's 11 people watching. We probably already have them.
Yeah, no, but for example, Stephen. We have Damo. I don't think people have done.
Oh, look, she'll be right. Anyway, Scrooge, what would you like to add today on our wonderful podcast? The one-time podcast
sure,
I've set up.
Watching it with Will and Max. Max just got off.
Yeah, the boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and
I don't really know.
You don't really know.
I'm surprised I got called in.
Do you have any words to say to the Kelpstar himself?
No, not really.
Okay. Well,
I'm not even sure what the whole point of this podcast is.
Well,
I'm just watching it.
We just wanted Kelpie to really clarify a lot of things, and we thought this was a wonderful medium to do it, and
okay.
The podcast is cool.
Yeah, it's chill.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Scrooge.
Yeah.
If somebody could give him the big yeet at this stage.
Yeah, Liam cough.
Yep.
Alright.
Why am I not surprised?
Alright, we can get now our next call in. Who can we get?
I
Just-
have sent the link to Damio and Steven, but Steven has told me he does not want to be on stream.
Who is interested in a call-in?
Oh, Jesus Christ. No. I found... Mate, it's my mom.
It's your mum.
Wait.
That's still
Oh,
Scrooge.
well, apparently...
No, that's Will. That's Will. That's not Scrooge.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, let's-
It's gonna be...
Let's get
No, it's not working. It's not working. His Discord... No!
That's alright. I
You know
can
what,
add him
we're
in.
dropping it there.
You're dropping call-ins.
Yeah, I'm dropping the link in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there is Steven.
Alright, here he is.
How are you going, Steven? So, do you have any questions for
Hello.
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Steven.
Welcome to the
Alright,
stream,
Do
Stephen.
you have any questions?
It's not Alcoholics
okay.
Anonymous. You don't have to like introduce
I've
yourself
been playing
before you talk.
CSGO for a long time now.
That's good.
I just really want to show my talents.
Okay.
Do you
How
have
do you plan to
any
do this?
questions, big man?
I wasn't expecting you guys to ask me questions.
Well, that's why you're in the call-in. You're okay. Well, I guess he's gone.
Faggot.
Sorry guys, I got stage fright. Okay, I'm back.
Get on with it. Get on with it.
Hello.
Nothing to
I'd
be
just
scared
like
of.
to address the stream.
All right,
Hello.
Stephen. Yes,
Hello, I'd just like to address the stream.
that's good.
My name is Steven.
Yep.
That's about it.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you for coming
Alright,
on.
remove him.
Give him
everybody.
the big yeet. Yes. Hello.
Alright, Damien, how are you going? Is there any questions that you'd like to ask anyone currently in the...
No, I just like to say that I'm fucking pissed because
Why
my
not?
LFT thread is full of fucking lying cunts who are extremely biased. They can't even.
All right, and we'll stop that one there. I pressed the big mute button on that one, and
Me too, dude. So
that
fucking mad.
and that's okay. That's
Dude, I
okay.
can relate to that guy straight up. Like, preach, man, preach.
Well, I think we've been going for about 45 minutes now.
Alright,
We'll do one more call in.
Liam, you can...
He's on mute here, so it's all G. Haven't heard anything. And we'll do one more call in. We'll get William Burns in here.
Oh, no, what about Rodder?
Oh,
For
pass.
God's sake. Liam, remove all
I
these
didn't invite him
people.
back. I didn't invite
Look,
him
look.
back.
Can we have a calm? Can we have calm? I have him
No,
muted.
I put links in the chat, yeah, and whenever they
Yeah.
joined, it says I added them.
Look, he's
Fine,
muted. It's okay.
Yeah,
We'll get
I'm gonna mute past them.
what's his name in here?
I'm gonna mute Damien. Gonna mute...
Alright.
So it's only passing. Okay.
Well, I want to give Will a good shot on the podcast.
Oh, I'm gonna get him right from...
Oh, Coggers. Oh, it's a root
Not
shot.
tease it.
No, I was about to say it.
There he is.
Hello. What's
Rocha,
going on?
welcome to the podcast.
Hello, it's good to be here.
It's
Is
good.
there any questions you'd like
Do you
to
have
ask?
any questions for Killer Kelpie? You know, anything you want to say to the stream?
I don't know.
Hard to say.
Any question?
Any questions? I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Anything you'd like to discuss?
I'd just like to say that you will now be the proud owner of a Toyota Corolla, 2001 model in hot pink. And
Wow. Yeah.
okay, and it's 9:16, and I'm really gonna call this here. That's been the podcast for tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been Lockie at Lock1E on Twitter. Lock1ECS. Kelpie has been Kelpie. He's at Tornado on Twitter. Liam has been Liam, who doesn't want his Twitter called out, so he's at CoolCreeper36. Be sure to connect with us on hashtag KillerKelpiePodcast, where we will be answering questions for the next few days. I've been Lockie, and
Oh wait, Steven, are you still
This has
based
been-
in Malta?
the Killer Kelpie Podcast.